Hey everybody, welcome back. Miss Lakin here at the Putnam. I'm really excited to be with you today. Today's topic is all about water. I will walk you through your activities. We'll talk about the water cycle and the hydrosphere, and we'll get a peek at our permanent exhibit here at the museum, Black Earth Big River. Water covers 71% of Earth's surface. We have a lot of water on planet Earth. And the cool thing is it can change states. It has different states of matter. So it can be a liquid in rivers, oceans, streams, just like our big Mississippi that we live very close to. It can be a vapor as a gas, as water vapor, and it can also be a solid, so ice, snow, so it can change from one state to another. So when that happens, scientists say that it changes phases. And something really important about water, we need it for our survival. So not only is it important to us, but it's also important to plants and animals and everybody on planet Earth. And our hydrosphere is actually all of the water on planet's surface. But that also does include groundwater. That would be water in the air. There's water always on the move and always around us. And it goes through the cycle of the water cycle. Okay, now we are ready to do our water cycle in a bag activity. So this one's really simple. All you need is a sandwich bag from your kit, or go ahead and grab that. And then I'm also going to recommend right now, try to find a permanent marker. That's going to work best to draw on your bag. So we're going to draw the water cycle on your baggie. We're going to add some warm water to it, and we're actually going to observe and make some observations of the water cycle in action. So the first thing you're going to do on your baggie in the right top corner is you're going to draw a sun. So go ahead and if you're doing this along with me, now is the time to go ahead and draw a sun in the top corner. We know when the sun beats down on liquid water, it warms it, it starts to rise, and we have that water vapor, so that invisible gas that goes up into our atmosphere. So when all that goes up there, it cools off and it goes back to a liquid, and all those liquid water drops cling to dust and particles in the sky, and that forms clouds. So go ahead and draw a cloud right next to your sun, and then we're going to draw a rain cloud. So right next to that, go ahead and draw another cloud, and to represent a rain cloud, I'm going to make it dark. We know when clouds get really heavy, they have a lot of water in there. They're ready for that precipitation. So it comes down, form of rain, sleet, freezing rain, snow, and then it collects in oceans, rivers, on the ground, and it goes within the ground. So we have the water that flows, the runoff, and then we also have, let's see, we have our sun, we have our clouds, so our condensation, precipitation, collection, and for evaporation, we're going to draw some arrows. This is going to be our evaporation. So we have the 4 stages for our water cycle. So now we have our water cycle drawn on our baggie. We are ready to add some warm water and see how it works. Okay, we're gonna see how our water cycle works out. So take your baggie and go ahead and ask an adult to help you do this. You're gonna warm up roughly half a cup of water. I just did this in the microwave here in the Fab Lab. And please be very careful when you do this. Ask an adult for help. You're gonna pour that hot water in your baggie. Go ahead and seal it. And ooh, I can already start to see it happening. It's getting foggy in there. A cloud is forming from the hot water. The hot water is making that, it's water vapor, right? So it's lifting, the hot air is going up, and I can just barely see it. It's starting to cling together and do some of that condensation. We'll see the little water droplets on the baggie here. Yeah, and you can really see that you can see the cloud in there. So it's evaporating, it's coming up. All those little droplets are clinging together, created that cloud. and it's getting really, really warm, and it's starting to have those little tiny water droplets. And we'll see, once they start building up, they'll actually slide downwards on our baggie, and that represents precipitation, and it goes back into our collection. So this could be a river, a lake, an ocean. So that's the whole water cycle. And if you want to experiment a little bit further, you can hang this on a window, and the sun will heat up the water, and you'll see that water cycle happen over and over again. So because it's a cycle, think of a circle. It's never ending, it just keeps going. So that is our water cycle in a baggie activity. Bodies of water come in many shapes and sizes, and the ecosystem of that environment really is a tell for the animals, the plants, and the things that live in that unique environment, just like the one we're standing in front of in Black Earth Big River. With all of these, there's a lot of birds in here. So this is a great environment that does have a lot of water. There's some cattails in there, and this is one example of an environment that would have a ton of water that would be helpful for those animals' survival. Okay, we are in the cave in Black Earth Big River, and this is a really fun place to be. And plus, we do have a diorama here of a coral reef roughly 375 years ago. So this is what a diorama of what Illinois and Iowa used to look like a long, long time ago, because it actually used to be covered with water. So water and weather both have impact on the landscape. Our landscape is always changing, and it's really cool. How do we actually know this? Because of fossils. So these are some of the fossils that give us clues onto what the past looked like. Water, time, rocks, and minerals, great ingredients to make caves. We're a little deeper in the cave now. I see some bats. There's there's a bundle of snakes in here. Not alive, of course. But this is a really interesting spot in the cave. Look, we have water dripping down, and water, it does definitely help form caves, and it connects the surface to the groundwater, and this is a really cool aspect of this part of the cave. Okay, we are ready to do our water cycle flip book. So let's get started. So grab your materials for your water activity. You're gonna need just a few things out of here. You have 3 pieces of paper, so go ahead and grab your 3 sheets, and you'll also need this mini binder clip, so also grab that. That's gonna help keep your book together. And I'm gonna grab my activity card out of my booklet, and oops, we have our water cycle flip book. So let's get started. Let's take our pieces of, or sheets of paper, and you're gonna fold them in half, hamburger style. So go ahead, and if you're doing this along with me, go ahead and fold your sheets. If you're not doing this now, just watch and listen, and you can do it later. Okay, we have our sheets folded. Go ahead and open up your paper. That's our first step. And we're gonna cut along that middle crease. So along with your supplies in your bag, you also need some scissors. And go ahead and grab a pencil, because that'll be helpful with your design of your water cycle inside your book. Okay, so go ahead and just cut down center, right where you creased it. Okay, take 1/2 of the paper that you just cut, and now you're gonna fold it in half again, but you're gonna do it the long way. So go ahead and fold that just like that. And this is the start of our pages for our book. And you're gonna go ahead and cut down the crease right there. And let me go ahead and cut this. And you're gonna do the same thing on the other side. So, so now we have one, so let's do the other side. Go ahead, just like before, we're gonna fold it so it's the long vertical way. And go ahead and open it up, and go ahead and just cut right down the middle. Okay, now we have all of our pages cut, and this is the start of our book. So go ahead and stack all your pages so they're just all on top of each other, and go ahead and fold all of your pages in half. And I'm gonna crease or fold or bend all those papers so it folds really nicely. And we're gonna grab our binder clip. I'm gonna put it right on the edge of where we folded, and this is already starting to look really great. So one cool thing about the flip book, we're gonna actually cut the edges so we can flip it really, really nicely. So for the edge, I'm gonna have you just fold the spine a couple times. So you're folding it so it's kind of a flat tube. And once you have it like this, go ahead, flip it over, and I'm gonna make an observation. So when I did that, all my pages are kind of, they're going down at an angle. And to make our flip book flip really, really well, I'm actually gonna cut this edge. I'm gonna look for the shortest page. So here's where the last page falls. I'm actually gonna cut all the pages to that point. So go ahead and cut that just so it's all even, and you'll have a lot of extra paper scraps. So just push that to the side, and it helps if you do have some good scissors when you're cutting your flip book. Okay, so, and I'm gonna unfold and reveal my edges. It looks like it worked out pretty nicely, really easy to flip. So that's really great. I'm gonna actually kind of press it down so it's easier. And there we go, we have our flip book. Okay, we are ready to design our water cycle flip book. So I'm gonna actually title mine, and I'm gonna use pencil to start off. I did grab crayons out of my bag. That's gonna help make my design stand out a little bit more after I use pencil. Okay, so I'm gonna do my water cycle. And so we know the 4 stages of the water cycle are precipitation, evaporation, condensation, precipitation, and collection. And so let's see, I'm gonna start with actually precipitation. So I'm gonna have it start raining for my flip book. So I'm gonna do a couple raindrops, and then I'm gonna go to the next page, and I'm gonna just change my image just a tiny bit. So maybe I'll add a couple more raindrops on the next page. And okay, so as the rain is falling down, I'm gonna have it start collecting into a little puddle. And actually the sun's gonna start peeking out on this one. And it does help if you make your image a little towards the edge of your pages. That way you can see it move a little bit better. And if you can tell, so I kept 3 rays on my sun. So this one, I made the sun a little bit bigger and the rays a little bit longer. I'm gonna make the raindrops a little bit lower. Actually, I'm gonna make this a little bit bigger. This is starting to grow and grow a little bit more. And the sun is really beating down. Okay, and when we know the sun, the heat beats down on the water starts to rise and turn into that water vapor. So it's actually starting to rise, turning into a gas. And we're getting even bigger. And it's starting to rise even farther. We know when that water vapor, that warm air rises, actually the puddle's gonna get a little smaller too. When it rises, we know that it starts to cool off again in the atmosphere. And I'm gonna start, we're just gonna have a cloud form. It's just gonna pop up right there. And oh, there's like not really anything left. Our sun is really big. That cloud is getting bigger. Those water droplets, all the water vapor it's doing that condensation. It's making all that big puffy cloud. And when it gets super puffy like that, maybe the sun kind of starting to hide a little bit more. Our cloud is getting heavier. Well, maybe it's starting to get a little dark too. All the little water droplets are they're clinging together. And we know that when it fills up, I'm gonna make it a little bit darker this time. And I'm gonna add some more in there. It's getting heavier. The sun's kind of starting to peek away or hide away. And I think this one's gonna have a lot. Make this one really dark too. It's getting stormy up there. Maybe they're even starting to come down. And lots and lots of little tiny water droplets. We know clouds are all just tiny little water droplets and ice crystals. And, okay, more coming down. Ooh. Okay. Lots and lots of tiny. Okay, let's see. And it's starting to collect again. We're going back to the collection phase of our cycle. Maybe it's getting a little lighter too. Maybe it's gonna stop raining. Okay. Okay, so should we see how it works? Let's see what it looks like so far. And this is the cool thing. Now that you know how to make the basic book structure, you can make a whole bunch of flip books. Okay. And should we test it? Okay, so to test your flip book and see how it works, you're just gonna go ahead and kind of flatten it back out. And, oh, you know what? I could go in with my crayon and make it a little bit darker, but we're just gonna see how it works with this. So here we go. And that's my water cycle. So we have all 4 stages in there. So test it out, see how yours works, and have fun designing. Wells and holes sunk into the earth bring groundwater to the surface for humans to use. So we actually have a hand pump in this exhibit. So check out this pump that was typical of the 1900s. I'm sure it looks a lot different from where you get your water from. So think about where does the water come from that you use every day? Okay, so think about where you get your water from and all the water on planet Earth. So this is, I'm gonna do a little demonstration and we're gonna think about all the water we have on our planet. So this jug is full of all the water we have. So this is in the oceans, in the lakes, streams, ice, glaciers. So think about in the air, so this is all the water. And so this is, think about if we would take all of that away on our planet, what it would look like. It looks pretty cool actually. Lots of mountain ranges and even volcanoes under all that ocean water. So we have fresh water and we have salt water. And the majority of our planet has actually salt water. So I'm gonna show you how much of our planet's, all of our water is actually fresh water. And it's actually not very much when you compare it to this whole big jug. I'm gonna put all the fresh water right here in this cup. Okay, so 97% of all water on planet Earth is actually salt water. Only 3% is actually fresh. And fresh water is important because that's what we use every day for drinking, and we use it for lots of different things. So how much of this fresh water do you think is actually good for us to use, for us to drink? So I want you to think about it. How much do you think is actually our drinking water? Well, let me tell you. And let me pull out my tiny little, my dropper. And let me show you. We actually only have 1 drop of that water to actually use. So that is mind-blowing. If you think about all the water we have, then we take the fresh water out, and then just that tiny little drop is all we have. So it's so important that we take care of our our water sources, our water systems, our planet, because everything is connected. Animals, plants, humans, we're all on this planet together, and it's super important that we take care of it because we only have that one drop to use. So it is really important to keep our water systems clean and to not pollute them. So they do get polluted in a couple different ways. One way is directly, which that would be one type of pollution directly into that water source, and it also gets polluted indirectly, and that is the majority of how it gets polluted, and it's really hard to pinpoint exactly what is causing it. So when our river or our water systems get polluted, think about one, it could just be trash that's in our water system, but it could also be chemicals like pesticides, herbicides, even fertilizers going into the ground. So indirectly is an example of that would be when it rains. So think about that water cycle. When it rains down, that runoff or that water, it affects the landscape, but it also affects things like, for example, let's say maybe there's some oil on the ground from a car. That washes into our water system. So ultimately, we are all connected, and the more that we know about it, the more that we can help the health of our river systems. Okay, so it is really important to take care of our rivers, not only for drinking water and the fresh water source, but the creatures that live in that environment. So these are our river fish here at the museum, and they are really fun to look at. So we are all connected, from plants, animals, the energy that the river flows through. So not even just here. So our river, it flows a really long way. So things that are happening at the beginning of the river also affect things downstream, or even leading to the ocean. So in that thought, we are all connected in a really, really big way. So I hope you feel inspired, and I hope you are excited about coming to the museum and getting another peek at our river exhibit here at Black Earth Big River.